for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us at our customer experience community of interest kickoff for the year. And we thought for this session, we really would just start to go over some of the things that we have happening in 2024 that you can be looking forward to. There's a few points in here where we will be looking for your input and thoughts and ideas. And so we'll talk a little bit about kind of our strategic focus, what we have happening in terms of activities, things coming up. We'll talk a little bit about a new maturity model that is on the horizon. I think we all understand that CX is getting a little bit wider adoption now, and so agencies are at different points in their maturity of adopting it, and so we have a very interesting way of trying to address that. And that is coming directly from feedback that we have gotten from agencies. We'll talk a little bit about, some of the transition point that we're about to go through, right? We are transitioning administrations, whatever happens there. And even if we have the same president in place, right, administrations often turn over after 4 years. So just talking a little bit about how we can address that as a group. We have a little teaser on a new employee experience working group that will be led by Eric Skill. And then we'll talk about some of our program meetings and some of the sessions that we'll be having throughout the year and anything else you want to talk about. So before we get started into that, why don't we just go around, if you can just say your name, maybe a title and where you work. We'd love to just get a sense of who's here with us.
I'm going to go first because I think I unmuted fastest. I'm Katie Anderson. I'm the VP of Capture at PBG Consulting, and I just joined the COI. So I'm really excited to be here for the kickoff, and Dominic sent me here, so I'm excited to see him on this call too. Thanks for having us, Crystal.
Nice. Okay, let's go. I'll just go in order of my screen. Tom.
Hi, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Tom Gilead. I'm here, part of the Granicus team with Charlotte. I work very closely with Department of Justice and Department of Treasury, and here just want to listen and learn and be part of the excitement.
Nice, thanks. How about Sandra?
Hey everyone, I'm Sandra. I'm from REI Systems. And I was part of this last year as well. And I work with Dominic and a few others on this phone call.
Great. Gisa.
Good morning. Gisa Sateri with SAIC, and I lead the GSA and EPA account here at SAIC.
Welcome. How about Laura?
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Laura Parsons with Maximus. I oversee all of our BPS programs, and I'm excited to be joining everyone today.
Great. And Sylvie, to you. Oh, you are on mute. Sorry. Can't. We'll come back to you. How about Scott?
Hey, good morning. Scott Dixon. I lead growth for a company called Chambridge Solutions, and I'm new to the COI as of right now. So, good morning.
Nice. Welcome. Ian.
Hi. Ian Habit. This is my first meeting. I'm a design lead at Technology Transformation Services over at GSA, and happy to be here.
Nice. Welcome. Sean.
Hey folks, Sean Fitzpatrick here. I lead human-centered design for Reba Solutions.
Great. Aaron.
Good morning, Aaron Mosby, VP Digital Experience, Public Sector at T-Tech Digital, also a Voyager right now with ACT-IAC.
Nice. Great. And Sarah.
Someone's at the garage doorbell.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah. I'm from Accenture. I'm on our public safety strategy team. And I was part of an event planning committee with ACT-IAC for the actually the acquisition forum that's happening today. So I'm excited to continue getting more involved.
Great. Okay, over to Ken.
I'm Ken Newcomer with Central Research ACT-IAC COI, and I am responsible and run our business development.
Okay, how about Nicole?
Hi, I'm Nicole Tugno. I'm a senior director at Forest Marsh, and I lead our public sector portfolio of research and advisory services with IRS and SSA.
Welcome. How about Adam?
Front door doorbell.
Hey, everybody. Adam Klein with USDA, Strategic Planning Director.
Great. Gigi?
Hi, everyone. I'm Gigi Frias. I am the Director of Digital Strategy at Bixel, a consultancy, but our focus in our group is mostly CX.
Great. Okay, about Nita.
Hey everybody, I'm Nita Sporcine. I actually work with Gigi at Bixel and focusing on CX strategy, and this is my first meeting as well.
Okay, and I have Janet.
Hey, I'm Janet. I'm with Nuance, now Microsoft when they acquired us, and I focus on the both DoD civilian space for customer service, citizen experience. Thanks.
Excellent. Okay, Annie.
Hi, I'm Annie Little. I'm with SAIC's Innovation Factory, and I'm a customer experience designer. This is my first meeting.
Great. Okay, what about Kristen? Oh, I can't hear you. No, darn it. All right, we will come back to you. Sorry about that. How about Simon?
Hi, this is Simone Zickman, and like Laura, I'm also with Maximus.
Good, welcome. How about Karen?
Hi, everybody. Karen Schramm. Until about October, I was with the Department of Veterans Affairs. I was the Customer Experience Executive for the Veterans Benefits Administration. Currently an independent consultant and an ACT-IAC fellow. So great to be here.
Great, welcome. Heather, to you.
Thanks, Heather Decker, here with ASA Government, a vice president. I help oversee our strategy and organization development practice, which includes our customer experience work. And so good to see so many familiar faces this morning. Thanks for having us.
All right, to Thor.
Hey everybody, I'm Thor. I'm with Medallia. I am a public sector CSM, dealing with all of our federal accounts over at Medallia for CX, EX, and all the different X's.
All right, how about Kaylee?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kaylee Nash. I work for MITRE. For those of you unfamiliar, we're a nonprofit organization that manages federally funded research and development centers. I am a strategist by background, and I support CX transformation efforts with USCIS, supporting their development and delivery of the CX strategy in line with DHS requirements, and now supporting implementation.
Awesome. Okay, I don't think we've hit Michelle.
Hi, good morning. Good to see everyone. So my name is Michelle Street. I am a senior customer experience strategist in the Taxpayer Experience Office, supporting Courtney Kydecker and Ken Corbin. And I think this was my first meeting. Yeah, maybe one a while ago, but I think this is it. And Courtney wanted to share that she may be able to join today, but we shouldn't count on it. Thank you.
Awesome. Great to have you. Did we get Beverly?
Hi, I'm Beverly Engel. I work with the CX team at REI Systems. So I'm tag teaming with Sandra and Dominic on our CX work there. And this is my first meeting as well, so I'm looking forward to it.
Great, welcome. A lot of newbies here. Okay, Mandy.
Hi, Mandy Owens with Central Research. I work with Ken Newcomer on the call, and I support with our business development.
Great, and how about Deshaun?
Can you hear me? I'm talking on mute, sorry.
There you go.
Yes, I'm new to this, first time on this call. I'm from SD Solutions. I'm a senior project manager and I'm in the federal workspace.
Awesome. Okay, Franklin.
Good morning, everybody. Franklin Matthews here, and I am the Director of Customer Experience Management at the Department of Commerce in our Enterprise Services Office, and I am also ACT-IAC fellow as well. So it's great to be here.
Awesome. Great to have you. Phil, did we get you?
No, good morning, everyone. My name is Phil Gallagher. I'm the Chief Solutions Architect with Human Touch LLC here in McLean. Been here for about 8 months. I'm new to the COI. Prior to joining Human Touch, I was at Genesis for about 8 years, developing CX technology, if you're all familiar with the Genesis platform. So what I'm doing here at Human Touch is helping the company merge some of our AI and other technology into the services realm. So I'm looking forward to this. I have a soft spot for CX coming from Genesis.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, Jeanette.
Hi, my name is Jeanette Shu, and I am from AFS. I was actually briefly on one of the COI for CX last year, talking about procurement and CX, but that unfortunately had to close. So I'm back again to see if I could do something this year. Oh, and I'm a service designer in graphic design.
Hey, great. Great. Welcome. How about Van? Van, if you're talking, we can't hear you. Oh, there we go.
I'm sorry about that. I was talking and I didn't even realize. Yeah, hi, Van Goodman. Sorry, I just stepped away for a second, got a call, but yeah, I'm a head of Van Allen Strategies, and we're actually an IT management consulting firm, and just really looking forward to this. We're really interested in like how you do some of the technical underpinnings to support a good CX. So that's kind of like my interest right now. I'm interested in hearing what others have to say here. Thank you.
Okay, great. And Andrea?
Hello, my name is Andrea Jones. I'm from HUD. I run the HUD Synergy Innovation Lab, which we underpin CX and also EX, a big part of it. And this is the first time I'm meeting with you all, so I am excited.
Great. Great to have you. We just had one other person join. I am probably not going to get this right. Nope. She just disappeared. Rachel, did I skip you?
You did, but no big deal.
Okay.
Rachel with ASI Government, long fan of ACT-IAC. I actually work with Kristen Andrade in our TSA work, and I'm a director over our CX practice within the SNOD work.
Okay, so we're back to Kristen or Sylvie. Any?
They posted in the chat that their
They did.
Gov
Okay.
laptops aren't working.
Even Zoom for Gov. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. We will try to work on that. And okay, so you can see their positions in the chat and where they're from, where they're joining us from. Thank you so much for joining. I'm gonna just introduce myself, Crystal Philcox. I am the CX COI government co-lead, and I will ask the rest of the leadership to introduce themselves as well.
I was thinking that we had done a bunch of introductions so we can get started, and then I'll just introduce myself because I'm gonna start, and then everybody else who's gonna speak. Yeah, okay. Hi, everyone. We are so excited. Thank you so much for coming I know that the notice wasn't long and we all thought that it was just going to be the leadership team and no one was going to show up, and that it was going to be like, you know, having a birthday party and having no one show up. So seeing all of you guys show up is like just magical to us and totally worth it. We went back and forth on like what the purpose and point of this meeting would be. And we were like, we have to fit it into January because we have to have a different kind of year this year for the CX COI. All year last year, all of you have been asking like, how do we get involved? Well, how do we do that? You know, and I feel like we could have improved the way that we communicate and engage with all of you better this year. So we're trying to make sure to put our best foot forward by having just sort of like, even if it isn't perfectly done and we don't have, you know, beautiful slides, that we would create the space for all of you to meet and connect with each other. And so I'm hoping we can get through the agenda relatively quickly. And so to have all of you, and then we open it up for just like hanging out and like networking, getting to know each other. And this group of people has always had like such high EQ that discussion's always flowing. So please feel free to leverage our smaller group today and just sort of, you know, write in the chat or speak out to have join us in discussion. I hope this is like a, not like us talking at you, but you know, an opportunity to engage. Although, you know, all of us leave our badges at the door for ACT-IAC. And so you guys know what that means. But I am excited to kick us off with just a general overview of the agenda and then, or not the agenda, the strategic focus we have for this year. I'm a little hesitant on showing the slides because they're so janky and we are in a CX environment and there are so many designers on the call, but I don't want to embarrass myself, but I will show what I can because we just did this, but all right. No laughing, bare minimum. We just, we try to get this together. All right, so we went through the agenda and Crystal kind of showed us this. I'm gonna spend like, you know, 10 minutes talking about, well, 5 minutes talking about the strategic focus and activities for 2024. So this is how you all get involved. Listen carefully, right? So for the last couple of years, we said that we were going to do this like playbook, right? But all of a sudden, all these agencies and all these, you know, companies or organizations have started developing a lot of playbooks and a lot of websites and a lot of resources. And it just became a lot to even put our hands around. I don't know if you remember, this is my 7th year being part of the leadership for the CX COI. And when I first joined in 2017, we had this awesome group of people help us do this playbook, and we actually launched it. It was the first of its government kind, but now if we find it harder to do something like that because CX has like, you know, grown to so many interpretations and applications throughout those years. So what we're going to do is start to kind of create content, but maybe in a slightly different and more engaging way with the COI through our monthly lunch and learns, which I think are called CX hours now, but Dominic will sort of go more into it. We had very extensive workshops and so much dedication was given from our government agencies. Some of you here, shout out to Michelle Street, who sat with us on the mural board for several hours, and all of the, you know, agencies who have been involved, just giving us like heart and soul, this is what we need to talk about with CX. And it ranges from topics around governance to human-centered design to maturity to communications. And it just was so encompassing that we said, okay, how about we don't do a playbook necessarily where we all like, you know, write our narrative, but we kind of use the CX hours or the lunch and learns to be able to craft a conversation that we document and start creating resources based on unique and different perspectives gathered from getting our COI members involved. So later, Don will talk a little bit more about like, you know, getting involved and signing up and what we're looking for in terms of commitment. Another exciting thing is the employee experience working group that Eris will be talking about. We're also looking for collaboration opportunities with other COIs. The most very tactical and pragmatic thing that we've been asked for is like acquisitions, how to buy CX, right? And we're already keeping that line of communications open with the acquisition COI. If anyone has compelling feelings, I know many of you here actually probably very nerdy, but do have very compelling feelings about acquisitions and CX. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on, how we can better work with the acquisition COI. There's also, of course, the emerging technology COI and the AI, and the healthcare people who are also asking us for involvement. That is a way to get engaged as well. If you say like, oh, like in our work, we have this kind of point of view around emerging technology and CX. If you can, propose the ideas around like, hey, what if we did this and worked on this together? We are totally open to those ideas as well. And we're trying to be able to like give everybody the space and opportunity to create that new thought leadership space by working through the CX COI leadership, but being open to the ideas of working with other COIs. And then we will continue to the Government Advisory Board, such a crown jewel of our COI activities, where we have the CX leaders from government come together and just constantly keep us updated with their concerns and priorities, much like I would say a focus group, but it's an executive committee that Martha leads, and it's always very fruitful, and a lot of our great ideas come from there. So I think that's what we have. And then does anybody have any questions about all I said so far? Okay. All right. So the next thing is that Martha, our fearless leader, who oversees a lot of the way that we kind of think about things bigger, is always pushing the boundaries and the imagination of what we can do as a CX group and organization, has some key updates. So Martha, take it away.
Thanks, Charlotte. Martha Doris. I run the DCI, and I've been around a million years, so I know a lot of people on the call. Nice to see everybody, as well as I run the Service to the Citizen Awards. So a couple of things to kind of plug into what Charlotte talked about. And the first thing is around the project that we had around rewriting the playbook and the work that we did to determine, do we really need a rewrite of the playbook given all the resources that are currently available? And so it kind of morphed into a couple of things to get the information that people needed. One was there was information out there, but they didn't know where it was. So we created a resource list of CX resources that's been used in a couple of training sessions. And right now we are working with an IRS. Michelle is on the call. They are our government champions of this project. We worked with a maturity model, which takes agencies through 4 different levels of maturity, from the very beginning, nascent stage, getting into customer experience, through like the 2 to 4 year range where you're starting to really implement it in a more disciplined way, to even more disciplined where you have organizational structures, policies and procedures in place. And then, the 8 years and beyond, which is, what you're striving to when you have it integrated in the way that you do business. And then it's broken down. Right now it's in a spreadsheet model where you can determine, does it apply to you? Is it a priority? What's the risk of not doing it? And then you can determine, it helps agencies and companies determine like action plans in areas of leadership, governance, performance measurement, strategy, customer understanding, change management, culture, digital experience, capacity building, design, and digital experience. So it's a work in progress. There's about 5 or 6 agencies right now looking at it, along with a few other people to try and fine tune it. It's definitely not 100%, but that's on the horizon, coming out probably sometime this summer. Then the second thing is around nominations are open for the Service to the Citizen Awards, if you haven't seen that. And then the UVA Customer Experience Leadership Program is open for registration for April 22nd through the 24th. This is the second cohort. Charlotte and I have been working with UVA, and very excited that we are actually And Crystal was actually a speaker, as well as Lee Becker, who's on the call, was actually a participant in a executive panel. So all of these are pieces of, ways of continuing to build the internal capacity within government to educate people on customer experience.
I am going to be dropping, so Lee's going to be taking over. But the UVA program, I just want to add one little plug. All these amazing people who are on this call were on it, and we had the best time ever. So please consider signing up, and we will see you there. And over to you, Lee.
Information was available in the newsletter we sent out today on the registration. So if you are interested.
Thank you so much, Martha. As always, thank you, Charlotte. So everyone, hi, I'm Lee Becker, and I have the pleasure to work with this amazing COI with Crystal, with Charlotte, with Martha, with Eris, with Dominic and team. It's so good to see so many new faces. And I think this next update is going to be key for Dominic is going to share, because this is an opportunity for we need the COI's help, because the way. A quick point I would say is, for those that may not be familiar with ACT-IAC, is the benefit of ACT-IAC and the CX COI and why it's been so successful over the years is really it correlates with the energy that we put into it. So us collectively as a group, that's the way that makes the COI flourish, is the dedication of all of us that are involved. So the more effort we put into it, the more goodness we will get out of it, and the benefit it will have for moving the needle on the mission for our for the government. So Dominic, over to you.
Yes, Lee, thank you. So hi, I'm Dominic Sale. I'm with REI Systems currently. Formerly, my claim to fame is being Martha Doris's co-worker at GSA. I'm taking on a new role with the COI this year. Those of you who know me well know that planning and logistics may not be at the top of my best traits list, but I'm going to do my best, and I've got the support of this team, this leadership team. They've been very gracious and encouraging me to do this, so I'm going to do it. And I think I get a gold star for today, which was my first tasking, was to get this on the calendar. And we've got really great attendance. It certainly exceeded my expectations. So thank you all for making it and making me look good on my first job. I was involved last year with the events committee. I helped support Megan starting around halfway through the year. So I've got some familiarity with what we do. So I think some things went really well last year, and some things we're looking to improve on this year. Thank you to Megan Umpo for her service, by the way. She's not here today, but she did a great job. And we got a lot of events out. And it was the first year after COVID where we actually had in-person events. I think Charlotte alluded to the fact that we flipped from calling them lunch and learns to CX hours. And the idea is that we are taking an opportunity to convene folks, well, they may have a little downtime, to really talk and dig in on some of the topics that are important to the community. I think, well, a lot went well last year. I think we've got a lot to improve on, a few things we can improve on this year. So that's going to be my focus. One is, let's get more folks involved. If today's any indication, I'm really excited at the prospect of having more fresh new faces jumping in and helping. We're going to need people to take some of these events and run with them. We don't have a number of events in mind at this point, but we do have a list of topics that has been handed down to me from the committee, from the COI leadership. And so that will be a good starting point. But it is ours to tweak and bring to life in the coming year. Last year, we tried to do about one a month. I don't know what we're going to aim for this year. I think we need to decide that as a group. That was ambitious, to be sure. We also had the issue, because we were coming off of being fully virtual. We tried some different things. We tried to do in person. We tried to attach some happy hours to some of these events, which we can certainly try to do again. I think I have heard pretty clearly from the from leadership here that probably lunch hour might be the best bet for the bulk of them, and maybe we try a couple that might be on the evening end so we can socialize in person as well. So we need to figure that out as a group. And then one thing that I know I was, was a learning from last year. We got all these great people together to talk about these great topics, but there wasn't a lot that came out of it. So so those who were in attendance really benefited from it, but we didn't take the learnings from those and apply them. And so this year we're going to be much more deliberate about topic, discussion, documenting that discussion, what are the key findings, and feeding that back into the other group, the other work of the COI. So that's something that, you all, whoever is going to be involved in this, please let's keep that in mind and keep that as a driving philosophy moving forward. That said, there's Sandra Gurgis is on the call. She and I work together. She's going to be helping me keep me honest, and Beverly Engel as well. But I'm really excited. I don't have a date yet for our kickoff for the working committee, working group, but I will have something out. I'll commit to having something out in the next week and keep it hopefully within the next few weeks. We'll have that first kickoff meeting and hit the ground running. So if you are interested in signing up, you can email me, email Nancy Delanoche, who's also on this group, and let's get started. And I'm looking forward to getting some things done this coming year. And thank you all for coming today. Who am I passing it to? Eris?
So Dominic, thank you so much. That was great. And I would love everyone's, please feel free to place your feedback, or you're sending Dominic notes around the notion around, location, ideal location for events, for in-person events, and also your thoughts about, would you like a hybrid, virtual? Well, we are the CX COI, so we appreciate your feedback, and please share, because this is meant to be for all of us, and also for the extended family with the ACT-IAC ecosystem. So thank you, Dominic, so much. And definitely please volunteer if you can. I got to say, we need volunteers support for the programming.
My natural tendency, Lee, is going to make it multi-channel and seamless, of course.
Awesome. I love it. All right, next it's Crystal, over to you on this very important topic.
Yeah, so I previewed this a little bit. We are looking for some feedback and input here. There are ways in government to sort of, make things stick, or as they say, right? Government folks, and I've been in government for 35 years now, and tend to kind of, wait things out if they don't like the situation and what's going on, right? And they think, I'll be here after these people leave. So what is it about CX and about what we can sort of embed in the policy, in the practices, and the way that agencies do things that do you think has been most successful, and that will ensure that we have that we are sustaining all of these CX practices across administrations, and thinking about how this starts to become the fabric of government, as opposed to something you need to think about that's extra that you need to apply to your work. Any thoughts on that?
So this is Aaron. I think one of the things that's going to make this successful is the continued process of getting CX outside of just, announcements coming out of the White House, right? So like we all talk about the CX executive order, which is great, and the directives from a particular administration to a set of secretaries that they've appointed is obviously going to be somewhat attached to that particular administration. Things that are encouraging, though, are the permeation of recommendations coming out of places like the Administrative Conference of the United States. These are people who are, stalwarts of like esoteric government policy, and the more we can embed CX language and CX practice into the things that, you know, your long-term administrators are going to be relying on, the better we're going to, again, instantiate CX as part of the normal way of doing government, right? So anything that we can do to amplify and highlight that, like, hey, like, yes, the CX executive orders out there, but also, have you read the latest policy report coming out of, you know, ACUS? So there's just things like that, I think, are the direction we want to be driving towards.
Great. Thank you for that. Other thoughts?
I
think-
have a, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Andrea. You go ahead.
So I have a idea around, like, at the end of the day, it's always the proof is in the pudding, right? So I think that there's something that we need to advocate in our own agencies, but also more broadly, that these successes happen because we use the CX methodology, or CX was embedded in order to make this particular success happen. I think, you know, we got to make it real for the people, right? Like, it was turbocharged by CX methodologies, right? And I think that might want people to want to know more about it, want to more engage on it, because they see like a causation. And I think sometimes we don't elevate that, right? Like how the sausage is made, like all that went into it.
Yeah.
So I think that once we start planting those seeds, I guess on the ground level, they'd be saying, hey, maybe we need to integrate this CX or EX thing, right? And I think that might take it from more of an administration voluntold activity to something that we all want to be a part of and figure out how can we do that because it's having great results.
Yeah, Andrea, great. That's a great thought. Success stories, but not just success stories, right? Actually tying the causation to that. I like it. Anybody else?
I have a thought to kind of, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Floor is yours.
Sorry.
Just to build off of that idea of showing what success can look like. One of the agencies that I've been working with has been thinking a lot about finding a path forward where they continue to support kind of reactive initiatives that are happening in the organization right now by trying to inject CX into them, but thinking forward proactively to how they can build CX into future planning that is looking farther out. And I think a lot of us experience regularly that those reactive on-fire moments, a lot of times, even if we inject CX, it's sort of quick and dirty research. It's the best we can do with the resources we have at hand and the time we can fit into these, you know, deadlines and things like that. And if we can show the impact of past initiatives with no CX, these initiatives with sort of minor limited CX, and then these more proactive efforts where we were able to build appropriate time for research and analysis and prototyping and, you know, the whole design process, and just demonstrate the differences in the output of what we're able to achieve with these different approaches. Maybe we can create more appetite for that level of investment that really does ask a lot of the, you know, different agencies' leadership and, you know, government at large from a resourcing standpoint.
Wow, I love that. That's great. Thank you. We have hands up. I think Martha was next.
I would just say that all of these comments have been right on target. But when you think of customer experience, I think we should think beyond. We should unpack it a little bit and think about, you know, understanding your customers and how you get feedback and how you use the feedback to create things that people want and are going to use, as opposed to things that people aren't going to use, or, you know, pulling in the CX, but also pulling in the voice of the customer and the design pieces, as well as the culture in your agency. So there's lots of pieces to CX that I think we lose sight of, and capturing the benefits in terms of the business case, both ahead of time and then as you go along, is going to go a long way towards when new administrations come in or new leaders come in, even in the same administration, in terms of just justifying why you spent the money. And it goes back to, what you were saying around just documenting those benefits in terms of both service delivery and cost effectiveness.
Awesome. Thank you. Sylvia also had a really nice comment in the chat that, what we end up doing is UX work for one application or channel under the guise of CX instead of having a CX strategy at the enterprise level. So nice comment. Katie, you're next.
It was funny that Andrea went right before I did, because she said almost exactly what I was going to say. And then what Nita said is very similar. Having the success story and taking away from kind of the executive orders or the more administration kind of piece of it, I think is super important. But as part of doing that, I think the bigger question is, how do we ensure that this initiative retains its importance and its impact, and that the budget follows that? I think that one thing we'd have to do is really define who the audience is for that message. Is this, agency leaders? Is it bigger than that? What happens when we have a really wonderful kind of micro case study that shows a before and after? I loved that idea. What happens without CX, what happened with CX, but then making sure that all that work is underpinned by who are we messaging, who does this need to reach, and how do we reach those people?
Absolutely key focus on your customer. Thank you very much. How about Gigi?
Hi, sorry. I think the one nugget that that has kept me very positive about all of this is that, in fact, Nita's written a white paper that we're trying to use to kind of like educate people about what CX truly is. But the idea that I found is that CX has been part of the presidential management agenda for the last 3 administrations. That is across the aisle in terms of politics. That is regardless of whether they were there 1 term or 2. So that is the one grain that I am taking as sort of like a small beacon of hope, if you will. My hope is that we can continue this by educating the actual individual federal workers. The part that we almost like overlook or take for granted at times is that all of these individuals are being told, there's a mandate, there's this, there's an executive order, there's this thing, you have to check this box. But they're not being given the mechanisms by which to do those things, or also the incentives to do those things. So I think it's a matter of like educating that grassroots kind of, John Q. public servant to understand why this ultimately matters. And then the administration will matter. We all know that there are the career public servants that really drive a lot of this work forward day to day. And they're the ones who are meeting and talking and serving constituents all the time.
Great thoughts. Thank you so much. And I think that the maturity model that will come out later this year actually will be really good for that. Okay, going to Kaylee.
Thanks. I just want to build on, of course, other people covered some of the points I wanted to cover. So it's great to hear all this alignment and thinking and different ideas. But something that resonated with me that was from a former discussion I had with Martha about CX at my own organization was that I think it's important that we don't get too hung up as we come into an election unnecessarily like what the exact terminology is, whether it's customer experience or service improvements, trying to think about the principles that underpin it and all of the practices that underpin customer experience, and ensuring that those continue, even if, say, a new administration comes in and, like they have done in previous administrations, wanted to change the language completely and put down their flag and call it something else. But I think Gigi made the point that, this is not the first sort of customer experience executive order that we've seen. We've seen customer service executive orders go way back. I actually have a list of all of the executive orders from like the 90s that have touched on improving customer service, improving public trust. And I think the latest one in 2022 is just the one that really like tied it all together as customer experience. And so I think, I came from USAID previously and went through a couple of administration changes there. And I think one of the things that we tried to do is be really creative in how we could continue on principles and practices that we knew were fundamentally important. Even if the title got changed, or even if the terminology changed a little bit, embedding those principles and practices into our behaviors and actions went a long way towards progressing really important things like CX.
Excellent. I think we have time for one more comment here. There's a lot of really nice comments in the chat. Please take a look at all of those. Andrea.
So I wanted to also talk about the benefits. I know with the innovation lab that I have and some of the other work, the people who are actually working on CX, the employee, are excited, right? Those are the people that says, oh my God, my opinion is taken into an account, right? And I think it drives the mission forward, right? As far as engagement and things of that nature, right? So I think there's an inherent employee experience factor when you try to fix an employee, there's an inherent employee experience factor when you're trying to fix a customer experience issue. And I think that also benefits the agency. I just want to make sure that as we're pushing this forward, to say that like this is also good for the morale of your agency.
Absolutely, absolutely true. Okay, I think we're going to stop there, and I am going to hand it over to.
Crystal, one thing, I think Franklin had a
good.
Earlier. I don't know if he still does. But
Okay.
he had the opportunity if he's still.
Franklin, you with us?
I am. Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Lee. And I put my comment in the chat. I don't know. I kind of got disconnected for a second, so it may have gotten lost in translation. But I was in agreement violently with everything that all the other commenters had made. The only thing that I was going to add was just the notion of, one thing that I've seen that's worked really well for us at Commerce is establishing what I call like these evangelists for the CX concept that have experienced it firsthand, that can go out and will, talk about the benefits that are tangible that they've seen from it, and being able to leverage that. The more we can have folks talking about it and keeping it on the forefront of everybody's minds, I think that gives that longevity factor in play. So that was all I was going to add.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I do want to hand it over to Eris, because she's got some really interesting information on the new Employee Experience Working Group.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Eris McCautry-Gill. I'm a managing director at Deloitte. And as you can hear, I'm not kicking quite as high today, but I am very excited. And I think this is helping with my healing to talk to you today about what we are going to launch soon. And that is an employee experience working group that will be incubated under this wonderful CX community of interest. As Andrea just literally talked about the connection between EX and CX, this is kind of a natural evolution and growth in this space to have a community of both industry and government where we can talk about and share what's happening in the EX space across federal, and hear what's on folks' minds in terms of EX and how it connects to the work in CX. We want to understand how we can take industry best practices and then operationalize them in a way that resonates in federal and in a public sector space. We know it's not always a direct translation, but we want to make sure that we are learning about all the innovative and exciting things that are happening, and figure out how we can apply them appropriately in the federal space. And then we want to continue to drive home the connection between EX and CX. Really can't emphasize that enough. When Franklin was just talking about evangelists and ambassadors, the folks who are performing the work, who are interacting with those that we serve, they really are the community that can help create what that looks like for us, in addition to the other federal communities that we talk about so often in the CX space. And so how can we both quantitatively and qualitatively continue to demonstrate the importance of both and the connectedness of both? So I'm really looking forward to working with this group. I'm looking forward to working with the other communities of interest that I know touch in this space as well. So we just wanted to give you a little bit of a teaser to say that this is coming. We are looking to launch in March, to have our first event in March, and we will absolutely be open, looking, and welcoming anyone who is interested in joining this working group and helping us to advance EX across federal. And so with that, I will turn it back over to Lee.
Thank you so much, Eris. First off, okay, so Eris is very, very humble. I'm gonna have to brag here first. Eris, if you don't know, many of you know her, but if you don't, for those that don't, she is the literally the author of the first ever EX journey map for a large federal agency, and she did that at VA, and she's operationalized it, not just with the journey map, but also all the tools, all the feedback capabilities, etc., related to it. So she's actually done it. That's in addition to all the other goodness that she has been involved in, and really at the ground floor at VA with driving customer experience, and all the goodness at VA with improving trust and also the morale and etc. So I think I know, Eris, you're gonna have a lot of volunteers to help you. I think Andrea reached out. I know she's interested in the fact that she, well, what she's doing at HUD, I think is going to be, there's so much goodness there that could help. But I'll leave it there. Thank you, Eris, for your leadership in driving this and being the chair of this important effort, and excited for what is to come.
Thank you.
All right, Crystal, I'll turn it over to you for final comments. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we are just closing out just about on time, or maybe a little ahead. We had slated, the next half an hour to hang out and chat. And so if you need to bug out, that's fine. If you want to hang out a little bit, raise issues. If you have thoughts, ideas, questions, if you have any questions about anything we just presented, we'd love to hear those. Or if you just have a burning thought that this discussion has sort of raised for you, we'd love to hear that as well. So interested in all comments and thoughts and expressions. Maybe you have a question for, and someone who is from an agency that's on. And